Okay, I am back at East Peoria High School for my second night of Aladdin Jr. This time I have real tickets because last night was a preview. Loved it last night. Show's out actually for a couple hours still. I'm going to go get some food, but wanted to lock down a parking spot and save it in my GPS. So looking forward to second night of Aladdin Jr., the Penguin Project production. Okay, so Aladdin Jr. Sorry, I got to do this part for my car today. The show was great. And I want to be clear early on. This is a Penguin Project production. So all of the cast members had different forms of disabilities or special needs or whatever the most accurate terminology for that is. But when I say that this was a great show, that is, I'm not saying it's a great show for a show with people with disabilities. It was just a great show. No caveats. Not a professional show, not a flawless or perfect show by any means, but by far the best production I've seen yet this year. Granted, it's only my third one, but better than a lot of stuff that I've seen before, better than stuff I've seen at community colleges before, certainly better than things I've seen at high schools before. The cast, the youngest cast members were 10 years old. Those were ensemble members. The oldest ones were college students, so there was quite a large age range in the cast, but I really enjoyed the production of it. The theater was really nice, much nicer than the last high school that I went to, which had a nice auditorium, but this one, I mean, the backdrops were coming down out of the ceiling. They were very detailed. The costumes were so colorful and vibrant. There was wire work, which I did not expect from a show with a predominantly a cast predominantly made up of children. I don't know the specific ages of the kids that were on the wire work, but Jeannie had some wire work. Jafar had some wire work, and I thought at first that they just weren't going to do the magic carpet because it wasn't in the scene with the Cave of Wonders, and there was no Abu. But they did bring in the magic carpet on the wires for A Whole New World, and they were flying around in the air on the wires. So that was really, really cool. The ensemble was huge. So the way it works with the Penguin Project is that if they need assistance in whatever form that may be, they have what they call mentors that are on stage with them, and they're part of the ensemble. They're in costume, they're doing all the dances. Some of them I noticed were singing along with the ensemble. I don't know if all of them do that. That might be up to them. But different accommodations that I could make out just by watching. There was one actor who, and I saw this twice. So there was one actor on one night who needed help remembering a word. And so his mentor, he was playing Prince, I believe in the play it's Prince Abdullah. I don't remember what it is in the movie. I think it's different, but it's, the prince that Raja bites his butt after he meets with Jasmine. And so he's just got, his little entourage. And so that's just a couple of those are other cast members, but then some of them are the mentors. So they just feel like part of the cast. So his mentor had to help him remember a line at one point. That's absolutely, if I didn't know that this was if I didn't know about the Penguin Project and all that stuff, that could just read as that's just how that character is. Because he's repeating what's supposed to be like the reputation of Jasmine. So it could have easily just come across to someone not in the know that he's like trying to remember what were we told about her and blah 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 blah. But anyway, even if you know that she's helping him, not a big deal is the point I'm trying to make. It didn't take away from it. It didn't feel like it got slowed down. He didn't need that the second night. So the second night he just said his lines like normal. There was a girl who was using what I would call a wheelchair. It's one of those chairs on wheels that you can also kind of use as a walking assistant. And so most of the time she was being moved around by her mentor. There was one scene leading up to so there's no Abu, but Aladdin has like 3 friends in the show. And then Jasmine also has, I want to say 3. Again, it's hard to tell because some of the mentors just look like they're part of the cast, but I think it's supposed to be 3 friends also. And so this girl in the wheelchair is one of these 3 friends. And in the scene leading up to A Whole New World, they're out on the balcony, and the girl is out of her chair, holding on to the balcony. So she has, some use of her legs, just not full use of her legs. So she was able to stand up fully for that scene. And then there's a curtain that, the doorway of the set was a curtain. And so the chair was just on the other side, so they helped her into that when she left. And then I didn't notice it Thursday night, but Friday night there was, I don't know if it was a scene or it might have been like the curtain call at the end, but she was walking out using the walker function of the chair. I don't know what the accurate terminology for that is, but she didn't have her mentor pushing her for that section. So that was cool to see. And in general, it was cool to see it twice. There were most of the things I thought went better the first night. A lot of that is probably just because I didn't know all the jokes and everything the first night. And so the second night I was like waiting for them, and most of them were still very funny. There were a couple where someone had misspoken a line or skipped a line or something, and so like the setup wasn't quite there. But sometimes the punchlines, just the delivery of them alone, still helped. But it was interesting to see the differences there. There was at one point there was like a genie like magic prop that was left on the floor for a really long time on Thursday night, and then on Friday night someone picked it up very quickly. So like it was supposed to be dropped on the floor, but I think they realized that someone needed to get to it sooner. So it was interesting to see and some of it is just things are different on different nights, but I think some of them were adjustments made from the Thursday night. But I've never seen the same production twice. I've seen the same show twice of different productions. I've never seen the same show twice in a row before, other than the show that I directed for a school that I worked at, which wasn't even really seeing the show twice. We only ever performed it once, but like I got to see different ways of how it played out depending on the day, but that's not the same thing. So this was a really unique experience for me to be able to just sit and watch and see the whole show twice. I see the little differences, the accidental differences, the things that might have been intentional differences, but both times it was really, really good. The girl that played Iago was absolutely hilarious. Her timing and her voice and her mannerisms that she put into the role. The first night literally had me laughing uncontrollably. I couldn't stop. And so the second night I was a little more mellow, but I was excited because I knew when they were coming up. My only real complaint is that the first night during the not part of your world, that's Little Mermaid, A Whole New World, the person sitting behind me sang along with the song. Don't do that. Don't be that person. So that was a little annoying. So I was glad I got to see that scene again with no one behind me at all. I was joking with, I went with different members of my family both nights, and I was joking the second night that sometimes I buy an extra ticket just not even just with stage things, but in general. Sometimes I'll buy an extra ticket just to give myself some extra elbow room. I was like, might have to start buying the ticket behind me also, just so I don't have someone talking or singing in my ear. But really good show. And a lot of the production, I at least the possibilities there, are based on the venue that it's in, and the capabilities that it has with the rising and dropping and the wire work and the lights that they had on stage. I kept trying to figure out, A, how many can lights there were, and B, what exactly the arrangement was, because there were so many that kept doing so many different things. And I still don't think I have it figured out. But this is the first venue that, like, and again, it's only my third show of the year, but as I'm going through the year at these different venues, at these different shows, these are the kinds of things I'm going to be taking notes of. I want to go back to this venue. I don't know what shows they're going to be doing throughout the year. But, like, I'm excited to see what else they can do at this place, separate from the cast and separate from the Aladdin story or the Aladdin show. I just want to go back to that theater. So, had a really good time. Both times. Had 2 really good times. This was a really good experience. Really good show. Really good venue. Can't go back tonight because I'm going to a different show tonight and a different show on Sunday. So, busy boy. I was very tired this morning because this show went pretty late and it was far away. So I did have to stop and pull over and kind of wake myself up last night. But tomorrow's show is a matinee. So one more late night tonight and then Sunday should be okay. But I've talked for long enough. Go see Aladdin. Next time it shows up around you, go see Aladdin. And if you see a Penguin Project show near you, go check it out. I'm curious to see, I don't know how many shows they do a year. I know there's a couple other cities not too far from me that have their own chapters, so that might be something that I look into, just because it's cool to see how they accommodate for that. So, there you go. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.